Hi everybody, this is Susan from the Beverly Library again, and welcome to the 8th and final of our Beverly walking tours. And today we are going to start down here at the Presbyterian Church. The original Presbyterian Church was on the riverbank at the west end of the old village. We do know from a brief marginal note in the records that this was the first Presbyterian church in southeast Ohio. The early records are mostly lost, but there are a few that survived, painting an interesting picture of church life in the early 19th century. Among these is a subscription list from July 15th, 1825. It lists the following pledges by about 33 men. It includes $16 cash, 7 bushels of wheat, 7 bushels of rye, 41 bushels of corn, 15 bushels of oats, 20 count hay, 23 pounds of wool, 12 pounds of butter, 12 pounds of tallow, 14 pounds of leather, plus $3 worth from another man, $3.50 in store goods, and about 100 pounds of maple sugar. That building was sold in 1855 when the current building was built. The old church was washed away in the 1913 flood. John Dodge donated the land for the new church. The red brick sanctuary is constructed of soft brick from locally mined clay. In common with many other local brick buildings of the same era, this brick suffered serious deterioration. In order to preserve it, the church was painted white for many years. When clear sealants became available in the 1960s, the white paint was removed and the brick restored to its original color. During the Civil War, the upper story was used mainly as a drilling space for soldiers. Most of the troops that went from Beverly received their first lessons in military science under this roof. The subfloor still shows the marks of a good many musket butts and military boots. During the First World War, the women of the church did their part by rolling bandages, preparing surgical dressing, knitting socks, caps, and sweaters. Okay, now 12 people are memorialized in the stained glass windows. All of these were pioneers in the era or descendants of prominent early families. The 2 sets of 3 windows with the round arch tops on the east and west side of the sanctuary were originally installed on the north and south walls of the Cumberland Church building around 1890. Now the Cumberland Church building is up the street here a ways. It's the greenhouse now. The Good Shepherd window was installed in 1913. The Good Shepherd window commemorates Benjamin Dana. Okay, before I get back to Benjamin Dana, I walked up the street a little bit, and this is R.W. Miller Plumbing and Electric, Inc. was first established as Miller Electric in 1946 by Robert and Raymond Miller following their service in the United States Army during World War II. Originally, the company was founded to provide electrical service and wiring to homes in the county as the utility grid became more widespread and readily available. The first office location was in a building at the lower end of Beverly that would later house Goddard's Dairyetta. In 1964, R.W. Miller Plumbing and Electric, Inc. moved to the Beverly Ice Plant building. Now, the reason I mentioned this business over all the rest of them is the ice plant. And for those younger people who don't know, before there was refrigeration and readily available refrigerators, you had to actually buy ice to put in a literal ice box to keep your stuff cold. And this is where they stored it and bought it. Now, on to Benjamin Dana. Okay, so who was Benjamin Dana? The Dana family descends from a French Huguenot family which left France in 1629 and settled in England. Richard Dana was born in England in 1640. He migrated to America and settled in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where he married Anne Bullard. From this couple, all the Danas in Washington County, Ohio are descended. Benjamin Dana was the 3rd son of John Winchester and Hannah Pope Putnam Dana. Hannah was the daughter of General Israel Putnam, an early settler in Marietta. Benjamin was born in Pomfret, Vermont in 1770 and received a farmer's training. He came to Ohio at the age of 24. He accompanied his cousin, Israel Putnam. They made the trip by horse and boat. They settled in Belpre, where they spent several months. Putnam had land near Marietta in what was known as Wiseman's Bottom, Rainbow. He engaged Dana to clear 4 acres of heavy timber, for which Dana was paid with a yoke of oxen. Dana received a land grant of 100 acres in Waterford Township on January 19, 1795. By 1796, the Indian Wars were over, and he purchased 200 acres from Charles Mills on the east side of the Muskingum from the island. The whole acreage was covered with dense forest of mostly sugar maple. Much of it was rich bottomland. Being an energetic and progressive farmer, he knew how to make the most of all of his resources. Sugar making was an industry in which he thrived, having come from Vermont. He adopted improved methods of refining, and the production of this camp found a ready market. The sugar camp was located on Dana's Run and near the upper end of the present lake from which Lakeside got its name. Benjamin Dana was a pioneer shepherd of the Muskingum Valley. He stocked his farm with merino sheep and was instrumental in securing a market for wool raised by all the early settlers. He provided large, substantial, and comfortable outbuildings in which he sheltered his livestock. He provided the best quality of food available for them from his ample farms. As a farmer, he was considered one of the most successful of the early pioneers. Dana made a small clearing around his house and planted a small orchard nearby. The trees were grafted and probably came from a nursery of Israel Putnam, who lived at Wiseman Bottom. There you go again. Dana's orchard began to yield fruit in 1805. Large quantities were shipped to Zanesville by canoe. An early Chandler apple tree gained the height of 60 feet or more. Some of the yellow russet apple trees were nearly 2 feet in diameter. The trees, which grew so rapidly in the virgin soil, produced many barrels of fruit, decayed almost as rapidly, and were gone by 1860. In 1817, Benjamin Dana began the erection of the brick house on his lands on the east side of the river. It is still standing and is the clubhouse of Lakeside. And there it is. It was built by E.S. McIntosh, an accomplished bricklayer. He also plastered the walls. For his work, he received a sum of $2 a day. Okay. John Dodge initiated the building of an Institute of Higher Learning. In this, he was encouraged by his friend and benefactor, Benjamin Dana. The institution was known as Beverly Academy or Beverly College. It was founded in 1842 and built on land donated by Dodge. Dana left a legacy to support the college, which had been the dream of his friend Dodge. The legacy was a coal mine in Adams Township and 2 lots in the Olive Green settlement. The 2 lots were sold and the money placed on interest in an endowment fund. The coal mine was held in trust by a board of directors, and money from its operation used to finance the school. The coal mine, in 1874, an attempt was made to open a coal mine on the Dana farm. There was good coal, but it proved too expensive to operate. And that is Benjamin Dana. And that also concludes this Beverly walk. And that also concludes all of the Beverly-Waterford walks. As always, if I forgot something or if I misspoke, please let me know in the comments. And if there's any place that I missed that must be added, I can always add more later. See you guys around. Bye.